Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another video here on the SSA Philosophy channel, where we dive right on into the philosophy of characters from video games to TV shows to movies, etc., etc. So, in today's video, we're going to be going over the philosophy of the character known as Sadie Adler. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, let us not waste any time. Let us go on ahead and let's get started. So, Sadie Adler strides into the game known as Red Dead Redemption 2, really a woman that is forever marked by tragedy. Because really in the game, introduced as a distraught widow, her initial, fragility belies a fierce spirit waiting to be unleashed. So really, Sadie's life, before the Vanderland gang, is really a glimpse into a bygone era of the American frontier. So, running a ranch alongside her loving husband, Jake Adler, Sadie's world revolved around the simple yet demanding routines of homesteading. Though not explicitly shown, it is clear that she possessed a quiet strength and resourcefulness honed from life on the land. And really, this idyllic, like say, existence, is what pretty much, the like, so you're pretty much this idyllic, like this idyllic, existence is shattered by the brutal O'Driscoll gang who raid the Adler Ranch, leaving a trail of death and destruction. And of course, Sadie's husband is murdered, and her own survival hangs in the balance. So, really, when we first meet Sadie Adler, really she is a woman reeling from loss. Clad in mourning clothes, her eyes are really clouded with grief and a simmering anger. Yet, even in this vulnerable state, there is a spark of defiance because she refuses to be a victim, clinging to a desperate hope for revenge. So, really taken in by the Vanderland gang, Sadie finds herself thrust in a world that is vastly different from her past because she's surrounded by outlaws and gunslingers, that she's initially hesitant and wary. However, though, she possesses an inner resilience, witnessing, the camaraderie and the fight for survival within the gang, she starts to adapt. So really, Arthur Morgan, the game's, playable protagonist. Now he recognizes, like say the potential within Sadie because he becomes like more like say a sort of like mentor figure in a sense, like teaching her like the ways of like the outlaw life, pretty much, halfway like, pretty much throughout the game. And and really, you're pretty much like the ways of the outlaw of life, and, like how to like handle weapon, defend herself. But then again, she does know how to handle weapon, and also like how to defend herself and everything, and even survive. But really, it's like like this time around, like you're with a gang of outlaws and gunslingers, so really, it's like you can't always like go gung ho and go doing whatever you please, because really, it's like at this point, you got to be able to like say in this case to like not just like, handle a weapon, and defend yourself, but really you got to be able to survive, like, say, in like Unforgiving Wilderness, one in where you got like, Pinkertons coming after you, you got like law enforcement officials coming after you on your tail. So really, even though she knows how to handle a weapon and defend herself, and even survive, considering her, previous experience, with her, living on the ranch and doing homesteaded, and everything like at, the early stages beginning in the game, and stuff like that. The thing is, though, is she pretty much learns how to be more and more like say to the point where she gets even more better at it. And even like say throughout the game later on, like when many years have passed, like say when pretty much before Arthur Morgan, before he had pretty much had passed, you know at the end of it, pretty much at the end of Red Dead Redemption 2 in the story. So yeah, so really Sadie's, so yeah, really she's a very quick learner, and her determination, really is filled by that burning desire, for vengeance. And really, as the narrative, as it progresses, Sadie undergoes a remarkable transformation because really she sheds her initial, awkwardness and her self doubt, morphing into a formidable gunslinger. And really, her marksmanship becomes exceptional. Her aim as steady as her resolve. And really, really, she sheds the trappings of a mourning wife, adopting a more practical, utilitarian style. Clothing that like allows for freedom of movement and the harsh realities of life on the run. So really, Sadie's journey in Red Dead Redemption 2 really is more, I think, than just requiring, gunfighting skills, but really it's a testament to the human spirit's ability to really overcome unimaginable hardship, because she grapples with grief, learns to live with her pain, and then channels it into, like, say, a relentless pursuit of justice. And Sadie, like, she really emerges, as a very complex and compelling character. Really a woman that is forever, shaped by the loss, but ultimately is defined by her unwavering courage and her thirst for retribution. So, with all that being pretty much all out the way, let's go ahead and really dive in through the philosophy of Sadie Adler. And this is what they call Sadie Adler, a philosophy of redemption through retribution. So Sadie Adler, a whirlwind of vengeance in a world, wrought with violence. Really, she carves her own path in the dying embers of the Wild West because her philosophy isn't really a treatise, on existentialism, but it really is a brutal code forged in the fires of grief. Really, it's a philosophy that is sculpted by the need for retribution, because where, pretty much where redemption comes, through balancing the scales of justice, however uneven they may be. So really the first point we want to focus on too when it comes to Sadie Adler's philosophy is this one: the unflinching eye, morality forged in flames. Now see, Sadie, she doesn't shy away, from the ugliness of the world, because her idealism was shattered by the O'Driscolls, leaving behind a steely pragmatism. Now, morality for Sadie is not really a divine law, but really it's a personal moral compass because she understands the necessity of violence to answer violence. And really, in a world in where the law is as untrustworthy as a snake in tall grass, justice becomes a personal vendetta for her. So, really, in this pre outlaw phase, Sadie, like this part of her philosophy is really one of clear sighted pragmatism because she sees things, for what they really are, which really are unflinching in the face of the harsh realities. Now, she understands the value of hard work, the importance of community and the sanctity of life. However, though, this doesn't really translate into blind optimism or naivete because she possesses a healthy dose of, like, skepticism, recognizing the potential for cruelty and chaos in the world. And really, even in her peaceful life, there's even a hint of the still beneath, Sadie's surface because she's really not afraid to speak her mind. Even to imposing figures like say as like Dutch Vandalin, for example. And really, this underlying strength, really is to just a woman who, while valuing peace, isn't really adverse, to defending herself or those that she cares about. So really, the brutal murder of her husband, really it throws, her world into chaos because the flames of grief and rage consume her initial part of her philosophy, which really it leaves, really leaving behind like a burning desire for vengeance. And really, her unflinching eye now focuses on a singular purpose, which really is, well, to make the O'Driscolls pay. And this really marks a turning point, pushing Sadie towards a new, hardened, like, say, part of her philosophy, one that is forged in the fires of loss. And also, another point I want to focus on into Sadie's philosophy is the art of vengeance, a dance with the devil. Now, Sadie's pursuit of vengeance is a dance with the devil because she knows the corrupting power of rage, the way that it can consume a person. Yet she also recognizes the necessity of channeling that fury into action. Now, her vengeance is a storm, swift and terrible, but one that aims to clear the air, not drown the world. So, really, Sadie, her life revolved around her husband, Jake Adler. And theirs was simply just a simple song, a harmony built on love and shattered dreams. Then came the O'Driscolls, a discordant note that shattered everything. They took Jake, leaving behind a hollowness that echoed with a primal urge for retribution. Now, this wasn't really about playing by some moral code, but really it was about reclaiming a stolen life, a twisted form of justice born from the ashes of her past. Now, seeking vengeance is really like more of a Faustian bargain because Sadie knows the darkness that it holds because it consumes you, it blurs the lines between, pretty much it blurs the lines between, hunter and hunted. But for her though, the alternative, a life, choked by grief and impotence, is unthinkable. Because the thing is, she joins the Vandalin gang, a group that is teetering on the edge of chaos, a reflection of the turmoil within her. And really, Dutch's fading dream, his fading dream of a free life becomes a warped mirror, reflecting, like, say, her own desperate pursuit. And then when it comes to, like, learning how to fight, learning to fight, it really isn't about, glory, but it's about survival, about mastering the instruments of violence. So really every bullet that is fired is a desperate plea for a semblance of balance, and each life taken is a grim counterpoint to the one stolen from her. So the dance floor is simply slick with blood, the music of, cacophony of gunfire and screams. But Sadie steps forward, a determined figure in the face of the storm. And also another part I want to focus on is redemption through reckoning. Now, Sadie's redemption, it isn't found in, piety or turning the other cheek, but really it lies in staring down the abyss that nearly claimed her and choosing a different path. By confronting the O'Driscolls, she reclaims a piece of her stolen life, because every bullet that she fires is an act of defiance against the cruelty that tried to break her. So really her journey towards redemption, it really starts off with this reckoning. And really, it's a harsh teacher, forcing her to confront the harsh realities of the world. Gone is the innocence, of her past life, and the world that she knew offered no protection and no justice. So really, she's forced to adapt, to learn the language of violence to achieve her own sense of order. So the thing is this, like, this is not like a glorification of revenge, because the thing is, like Sadie, she grapples with the emotional toll, like with grief and anger, both of them simmer beneath the surface, but they feel her determination. And each act of vengeance is a step towards reclaiming her agency, a way of asserting control in a world that took everything from her. However, though, redemption through reckoning is a double edged sword, because while revenge, while it does offer a twisted form of justice, it can easily consume, and the question really remains is really, can she find a path beyond the cycle of violence, or will it define her forever? And also another part I want to focus on is with Sadie Adler is really the strength of vulnerability. So Sadie's vulnerability, on one hand, so really the thing about her vulnerability is this, is that it's not weakness, but really it's the source of her resilience, because she allows herself to feel the depths of her grief, but doesn't let it drown her. And really she finds solace in, camaraderie, and really in the unlikely family that she forms with the Vandalin gang. And this vulnerability allows her to heal, like, say, to emerge stronger, from the ashes of her past. And the thing about Sadie is this, like Sadie, she refuses to be a victim. The gang, initially is skeptical of her resolve, witnesses her unwavering determination to learn how to fight. And this isn't really about blind rage, but really it's a conscious decision, to confront her pain and to channel it into a pursuit of justice. And really, by embracing her vulnerability, Sadie pretty much sheds the societal constraints, that are placed on her, because really she learns how to handle a gun, a skill traditionally reserved for men, and she also sheds the trappings of a mourning wife and embraces a path of action. And because, of course, back in this, like time period, because really back in this, time period, because Red Dead Redemption 2, the story takes place pretty much, and it pretty much it starts off in the year of 1899. And around this time, you had the women's, suffrage movement around this time as well too. Women pretty much, fighting, for, getting, like, say, their fighting for voting rights, back at this time period. And of course, trying to, like, fight for a better lot in life for women. And and there are missions, of course, like the women's suffrage mission. I think it is in chapter 3, in Clements Point. When you're, like, in the town of Rhodes, you're doing, like, the missions for like Belgrade and Penelope Braithwaite. The love story, but those two, like, there is a mission pretty much, referring, to, like, the women's suffrage movement. Pretty much, women, how they were fighting for a better lot in life and wanting better for women. When it came to, like, wanting the rights, to, like, vote, around that time. You know, So yeah, so it was like a different time period around for women, around this time period. So so yeah, really when it came to like a woman, learning how to like handle a gun, back then, that was like something overall that was traditionally reserved for men. So yeah, back then, it was a different time period. A different time period back then when it came to like the patriarchy and matriarch. Like pretty yeah. So yeah, those are like different time periods back then. That's what I would say. And so yeah, so really this vulnerability, you know, like this isn't a weakness, but really it's the foundation really for her growth because it allows her to connect with others who understand loss, particularly Abigail Marston, and their shared experiences, forge a powerful bond, a testament to the strength, found in female solidarity. Now, Sadie's journey, though, is far from over because, like, but really in the initial stages, we witness the transformation, the transformative power, of vulnerability. And really, it's a reminder that true strength, often lies not in the absence of pain, but in the courage to face it head on. And this vulnerability, it really becomes the fuel that propels her towards a future that she carves for herself. And a future where, that she is no longer defined, by tragedy, but by her unwavering spirit. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, that overall is, that is the conclusion of this video here today. But overall, Sadie Adler's philosophy, really, it is a testament, to the human spirit ability to carve its own path in a chaotic world. Because it's a philosophy that is written in scars and gunpowder, a testament to the fact that sometimes the only way to find peace is to fight like hell for it. And really, unlike all the other gang members, redemption really isn't something that Sadie is striving for because she does form genuine bonds within the gang, particularly like with Arthur Morgan, who recognizes her potential and mentors her. However, though, her loyalty is ultimately to herself and her unwavering pursuit of justice. And this is most evident in her defiance of, societal expectations, and yeah, and really the thing is, like, she learns, to handle firearms, with deadly efficiency, a skill traditionally, like I said before, one that is, reserved for men, and even and Sadie pretty much even said herself, like, I mean, she wasn't like some woman that was, dressing up and like pretty much dressing up like in a long, nice dress and baking cherry pies all day. I mean, she actually did mention that before too, like how she can wear like any like say pretty much that she can wear anything that she wants because she does not like that. Like she does not like that whole like say the whole what society pretty much expected women to be. Like what society expected women to be at that time. And stuff like that. So Sadie pretty much was not down for that. Like she was not down for that at all. Like not one bit was down for that. So yeah. So really, she sheds the trappings of of femininity. Adopting a sort of more like coarse exterior that really mirrors the brutality of the world that she inhabits. So yeah, so really Sadie's path, really her path is fraught with loss because she witnesses the gang's disintegration and the deaths of those that she cared for. And really each loss, really it fuels her determination, hardening her resolve. And by the game's climax, she's really a formidable gunslinger who no longer a woman seeking revenge, but a force of nature determined to see it through. And really the epilogue, it really offers a glimpse into Sadie's uncertain future. Because she rejects the offer to join John Marston's family, choosing a more solitary path. And really this ending, open is really open to interpretation, and some people will probably see it as a tragic consequence of a trauma, a life, forever that's haunted by, vengeance. And other people view it now. See, other people overall would view it as really as an act of empowerment. Free from the constraints of society and the ghost of the past. And Sadie, really, I would say she carves her own path. Really, which is a testament to her resilience. So yeah, really, Sadie Adler. Like honestly, Sadie Adler, her legacy is complex because she's not a flawless hero, but really a survivor who really defies the categorization, and that's the thing. And this is really what I like about Sadie Adler's character a lot. Like, I mean, Sadie Adler honestly is one of my favorite characters, honestly, from the world of Red Dead Redemption. One of my favorite characters indeed, top five at the least. One of my favorite characters from Red Dead Redemption, from the series itself, because And the reason why I like Sadie Adler character a lot is because of the fact that she represents the harsh realities of the Wild West. Where women were forced to carve their destinies. Their own destinies really in a world that was simply dominated by men, and that was the thing. Because, like I said before, back in that time period in 1899, and really, not just that year, but like even like say before 1899, even like say into like the 20th century, you know, like women, back then overall were really, like I mean, that's the thing. I mean, because women back then were forced, I mean, they were pretty much, expected pretty much to follow the societal expectations of being like, a stay at home mother or a stay at home wife, while the man does things, working the job, doing this and doing that. So yeah, society back then was very different. But yeah, but that's what I like about her character a lot, though. The fact overall that that she was a woman who overall was like really overall represents the harsh realities of the Wild West. Somebody who really is really a character overall. Who really who carved their own destiny. And really her story it resonates a lot because really it's a testament, to the human spirit's ability, to endure and adapt, even in the face of unimaginable loss. So yeah, so really whether if haunted by her past or forging a new future, Sadie Adler remains really an unforgettable icon of resilience and unwavering determination. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that of course is the end of this video here today, of course. And if you stayed this long to enjoy and watch the video, then of course I thank you all a lot. I appreciate it. So of course, don't forget to like, the comment, and subscribe for more explorations into the minds of your favorite characters on the channel, and also hit notification bell to stay updated on my latest videos as well too. And other than that, though, that is it. So overall, I hope you all have a very beautiful, blissful, and wonderful day. And always remember to always be smooth, to always be steady, and to always be aggressive. Peace.